Hey, welcome to Let's Make It Fly. This is Blunt, and we're going to go through the making your quadcopter badge fly. As you can see here, I have the Syma X5 in front of me. Um, I've kind of done a little prep work here, but I'll show you that here in a second. Some things I want you to do before you take this apart. Okay, first of all, let's only take one thing at a part. All right, so let's work on just the flight controller now. Do not take your transmitter apart at the same time. Right, that's going to cause you troubleshooting nightmares. So do not do that. Right, so keep the transmitter. All right, keep the radio intact, right? With the so you can make that. We're gonna take this apart. Don't take anything else apart right now. Okay, one thing at a time. Something else I want you to do is I've taken off. You see, when it comes off, it comes out of the box. It's got these caps covering the actual gears. All right, so that the gears are protected. Something I'm trying to still design into our badge, but hey, we're working on that. All right, so with that, I want you, before you take that apart, take some of those caps off. We have to take all four caps off anyway to take it apart, but I want you, while you're there, to feel how smooth these turn, right? When we have our badge together, it should turn as smooth as these, right? If we get any chunk, stuck or jamming, or it doesn't feel like it's running that smooth, then we probably have to adjust those. So I wanted you to get a feel for, hey, play with this. Say, hey, okay, I feel this, right? This is, okay, I know what I'm looking for. All right, so just kind of keep that in mind. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take that Syma X5. We're going to pull out of our flight control bag. All right, for now, we're just going to pull out our flight control badge. All right, the add-on board. Okay, should look something like this. All right, I like a goat. Like a goat. Anyway, we're going to build this. And this is what allows the badge to fly as far as receiving the signal from the transmitter, from the radio, into the badge itself, and then allows us to control the motors. So we're going to go ahead and set this aside for just a moment. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that out of the reflection there. All right, so we're going to set that aside for just a moment, and we're going to concentrate on this guy. So what I want you to do is there are screws here that have to come out. All right, and what you have here is I'll go ahead and grab my little screwdriver. You should have gotten one of these in your kit, a nice little black one here, right? So or orange one, depending upon the kit. All right, and in here are screws on each corner, and then you need to remove the screws off of the caps, right? So I've removed the ones here for now. And then I'm going to go ahead and do these last two on the caps because I wanted to show you the caps on those as well as the caps off of those. All right, so you've got to take those off. Okay, just a couple twists. Okay, I always like to set aside my my screws, right? You never know when you're going to need a small screw like that later on. Matter of fact, in your flight control bag should be a bag of screws. This one's pretty long. I forget how long that one is. Yeah. So you set those aside. So you may use those later on, right? That's just what all that is just a kind of pops out, right? So you lift it up and it pops up. All right. So go over here, do the other one real quick. Get that in. There you go. It's only like 6:30 in the morning, so not like I'm coordinated. I haven't had a freaking cup of coffee. I'm still working on my first one, right? So, but I want to get this done for you guys so you can fly, right? So again, unscrew. Right, sorry. Here I have to unscrew, lift, pull up, boom, put it aside. Okay. Again, feel those, nice. Ooh, feel how nice those move. All right. So at this point, it should come apart. I've taken apart the four screws. I've taken off the four caps. Right. So 4 screws, 4 caps. All right. At this point, if I carefully pry this apart, it's like magic. It comes apart. Woo! Yay! Take this part, throw it away. All right. Good. So, this is what we're going to concentrate on. This is the receiver for the transmitter we have, right? This here is what controls all of the signal coming in for us. So, in particular, what we're going to do is we're going to take this red board and we're going to attach it to my flight control unit. And in the end, it's going to look something like this. So here, let me show you the two. In the end, it should look something like this. We'll have there's the blank, and here's the full one. All right. So tools for this build on this one here. Hot glue gun definitely comes in handy. If you have a hot glue gun, I would highly recommend getting that out. We're going to go ahead and use our soldering station to go ahead and solder the wires on. Outside of that, maybe some wire cutters to go ahead and cut the wires to be able to put them to the board. What I wanted to show here on my flight control board, before we get started, is if you have any flight controller that you want to use, you've got an open source, something that you're going to want to go through. Well, one of the things I've done is I've set up so that if you look closely, there's a set of or a pair of plus and minus for each motor. So this would be the motor that would go to, looking at it right now, say 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and 2 o'clock. So what it is each of these motors, as far as the connectors for your motors from your flight controller, go over to this 2x5 set of pins. All right, and that 2x5 set of pins, what it is each set of pins goes to a corner or a badge bone section where the motor is, right? So these pins go to the right, the top right, let's say, the 2 o'clock, the 11 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and I'm not sure the order. You'd have to look at the wiring diagram real quick. But the idea is that each of these pairs to a pair of these. And this is what allows, battery to your controller, controller to your motor. All right, these connect to the pins go to the badge, and that is what takes us to the pads for the individual motors. So you can put your own flight controller right here if you'd like to. There's no problem with that. All you have to do is you've got to go ahead and put in from your flight control unit to the motors. You just run those wires, and it should go ahead and connect up to the motors that you've chosen to run. I'm assuming we're going to gut one of the actual Symas here, so I'm going to go with that. But you could use one of your own. The other thing is if you do connect the flight control unit's battery, all right, to the battery source here, it will also power the badge for doing things like LEDs while you're flying or sound or something like that. So basically, these 2x5 sets of pins, all right, each pair goes to a corner of the badge to control a motor, and one set goes to the plus and minus for the battery to power the badge. So it just gives you a heads up. So there's the only thing you really need to know. You don't even have to hook up the battery if you don't want to, if you're not planning on doing any kind of light show where you're flying or anything like that. All you need to do is go from the battery to your flight controller, the flight controller to each corner motor. All right, so all I've done is given that to you there. Now, this assumes we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and break from that now. I'm going to go ahead and actually start to do some build here. We're going to talk about that Syma here. All right, so I've got my Syma. Let's go ahead and start with one of the corners here. So if I come in with a corner, what do I have here? Well, I've got the gear and stuff. All right, so you've got the gear here, which actually turns we're turning the gear, and this would be where the prop goes, right? So you have the prop across here kind of thing. Right. All we have to do to gut this right now is those gears and the prop support, or whatever we want to call it, the prop attacher, is going to go ahead and stay there for now. We're not going to worry about that. We can pull those out later. Actually, if you've got the flight control bag with the gears and stuff, you don't even have to mess with these. I would take them out just because they're nice to have, but I didn't want you to have to, pull them out and mess them up and then go, oh my God, I can't fly. So I did try to include a bag of those gears and stuff for you just in case, so if you need it. All right, so when it comes to this, all we have to do is we take this motor and we just lift it up. All right, so if we just pry it up, as a matter of fact, you can push a little bit from the bottom, all right, if you want to. I'm going to turn this to make it easier for me. All right, I'm going to go ahead and just, let me grab a pair of pliers to see if I can show this a little better so I'm not in the way. Grab my pliers. All right, cool. All right. So all I'm going to do is I grab that motor, right, and I go ahead and lift it up. Boom, right, just lift up. Nothing to it. All right, the gear should stay on the motor there at that point, right? So we have a little white gear there you can see on the motor. All right, that's fine. And then all we do is we take it and we unthread it from whatever holders are here. So do that for all four motors. Just go ahead and take it. All right, we're going to take it and we're just going to lift it up. Leave the wires attached for now, right? We don't want to cut anything. Do not cut wires yet, all right? So if I come in here and I lift my motor up, all right, I just go ahead and lift. I just go ahead and lift. All right, just go ahead and lift. All right, nice and easy. If you lift straight up, of course, it works better. Right, come in here, lift straight up. Boom. All right. Yeah, it's magnetic, of course, so they may stick to your pliers. All right, and just lift straight up. And then unthread, right? So we're going to unthread. Cool. Okay, at this point, we have our 4 motors detached, right? So we can kind of, they stick together. You can kind of stick them together if you want and push them to the side, right? So they all kind of stick together. Push them to the side. Now, what is next is, if you look closely here, there are other wires that go, and what these are controlling the red and green LEDs, okay? If I turn this over, you'll see you have like red and green LEDs here, right? That lets you know when things are going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to remove those next. First, let's remove these caps just because it's easier to get in there. So if we want to remove these caps, all right, all you have to do, because again, they're going to come through here on the back, and we got to get these lights out. So actually, you know what? We don't actually need those, because what I did was, yeah, I actually put onto the board here. It's hard for you to see. Let me see if I can zoom in here real quick. We don't actually need those lights. So what I'm going to do is zoom in here real quick so you can see. All right, I've gone ahead and replaced those lights with the LEDs that are required to run them here on the board. They're on top and bottom. I've got a green set here and a red set down on the other side, right? So here's the red set. So on top and bottom. So what it is we don't really need those LED wires. But just to keep it clean for now, I'm going to show you how to do that. So if you do want to grab the LEDs off of here, because maybe you want to use them for later on, they're pretty cool. All right, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to take these. Right. Now, if you look close, let's see how far I can zoom in. All right, so if you look close, yeah, so let me get that wire out of the way. All right, there's just a little clip there, right? So if I go ahead and just take this and I push this clip, ready? Take it and just push, boom, that cap comes right off. All right, so again, I'll show you here. All right, so if I'm here, all right, if I take that wire out of the way, sorry for my big old sausage fingers, that little tab there, if I take it and I just push it away, right, push it towards the top of the screen there, boom, it pops right out. So I'm going to pop those out real quick. All right, so, and what we should see is the LED board here, all right, on the board. So they're just held in by clips as well. So if you just see right here on the side and side, they're just little clips. Right. So what you wind up doing is you just kind of go in there and you can pry them off. If you look here on the back, that white spot, that's the LED, right? That's this LED here. So all I do at this point is I go ahead, I try not to use something too sharp because I don't want to actually, like, you know, stick it into any of the control parts or anything. I just take it and I push it, boom, and it just comes right out. Right? It's loose, no longer attached, and you can just take it at that point. Right? You can take it, lift it up, and use my fingers. I use my sausage fingers instead, right? So there you go. So now it just goes through, right? So you just kind of take it and push it through. So then pull it through. All right. And if you notice, all it does, it says it's got the LEDs on there, just like mine, right? So all it is a set of LEDs with a resistor, right? So we've gone ahead and set that up. So if you do each of those 4 corners, we can do that, right? Our flight controller. So what you should be looking like is you've got 4 motors, right? You got your 4 motors here, right? Get your 4 motors here. We'll just flop them to the side, right? Got your 4 LEDs here, right? So if you grab one from each corner, right? You got those 4 here, right? So they're good. So we just flop those over to the side. Actually, what I do is I like to just take them, and at this point, I kind of line up the LEDs, and I just give them a good twist, right? Just to, now I know they're all together. It's no big deal, right? Boom, kind of give a twist, and they're less likely to get in my way. Okay, so that's cool. So we got our LEDs off. We got our motors off. We can now take our flight control unit out. Let's zoom in a little bit here. All right. So the only thing that's really kind of left at this point is actually there's 2 things we have to do. We're going to go ahead and take off this flight control unit, right? So we're going to take off this red board. But we're also going to get in here and take out these 2 screws to remove the switch, right, that turns it off and on. If we look on this side, there's a switch here to turn it off and on, and there's a port for the camera. Hey, guess what? You can still use the camera on my badge. All right, so if we do this right, you can even attach the camera to the badge in some fashion. I didn't design it to be that way, but you can still do it. We go ahead and attach the camera. That would be cool. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here, and we're going to take out both the board and those switches, leaving them intact. All right, because we don't want to cut any wires yet. Again, no wire cutting, right? So let's grab our little screwdriver that I put in the kit, and what it is there are one, two, three screws, and there's actually like a pin here that helps us, with lining things up. All right, so what we're gonna do is we'll just take out those 3 screws. So let's take those out real quick. They're pretty small, they go quick. Again, I like to set my screws aside. And sorry for the sausage fingers. All right, that's what I have. Oh, you can drop them inside like I do. I didn't need to do that, that's why. They're not going anywhere, right? So if I just go ahead and take out that screw. All right, screw, sausage fingers. Ooh, all right, take too long. Speed this up 1.5 times speed. All right, cool. Put that screw aside. All right, get this last one here, this corner. And just get this last screw. Boom. Okay. Now, our flight control board should come off, right? Now, don't pull too hard. The wires are short here, right? So some other things we need to do at this point is there's on this side, this is holding, all right, the battery connector for us. Actually, let's go ahead and here I'm going to show you there's the battery port, right? If I actually open it up, all right, the battery port, we should probably pull out the battery even. The battery's still in there from when it was shipped. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and just pull those out. All right, so pull the right cord. All right, it's the one with it's the female cord. Remember, batteries are always female, right? Because you don't want to have exposed wires. So if we go ahead and we just move the male one out of the way, oops, we take the male one, we pull it up out of the way, we should be able to pull that battery out fairly gently. Pull that battery out. Come on, it's jamming on that side. You can see there it is. All right. So now I just kind of pull that battery out, and we're going to put that to the side. That's important. This is a battery which is used for the flying. All right. So we're going to go ahead and put that to the side for now. That's important. Keep that. All right. So now, all right, as we go through, I'm going to push this just back in for the moment as far as the other cord. This is for the flight control unit, this cord. Push that back in. Okay, good. All right, so now we can thread that away. See, now the battery's out of the way. It should thread right through here in this little spot. There's a spot that holds the battery here. All right, so we should be able to thread that through as far as pulling the, let me see if I can actually put it on camera here. Right? So if I go ahead and pull it through, right, see I'm just pulling it straight through there. I don't even have to unscrew it, right? I'm just going to pull it straight through. Boom. All right, now that frees that up. All right, cool. So now the only thing we should have holding the entire flight control unit board on, because we have the motors to the side, we have the LEDs to the side, all right? We now have the battery wire to the side. If I flop it on the side that's got the switches here, you'll see, all right, the only thing still connected is this goes to the switch and the camera port. To take those off, there are 2 screws. There's this screw. It's the lower one, all right, closer to the ground here, and this screw, right? So these are the 2 screws. So if I remove those, you can see it's a holding bracket for that switch. If I remove these 2, all right, one. Sorry, got sausage fingers here too. The screws are loose. All right, I'm just pull those screws. At that point, that whole brace should lift up and out of the way. All right, just go ahead and grab it with the tweezers here so you can see. Lift it up out of the way. Boom. Put it to the side. All right, now you can see the switchboard. If we just go ahead and lift gently on that, all right, it should come out. And all it is you can see there's a socket here and the side. It just they slide in the socket. All right, so if I lift gently, right, it should come right out, all in one piece, no problem, right? Everything's together. If you look at this, right, there's the board itself. And so let's see if we can get the focus on that a little better, right? So we'll take this out of the way. All right, so you have that separate switch and stuff here, and the port for the camera. Everything should be disconnected now from your big old piece of plastic. All right. Don't throw this away yet because we still want to take out these motors and these gears, right? Because these all come in handy as a spare set if you have another set, right? So just place this gently to the side for now. The only other thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to dump out the screws. Anything that fell in there, right? I want my screws back. All right, so I dump that out. I set it to the side gently. I don't throw this one away. All right. Little switch port here, this little red one. All right, throw that away. That's no big deal. All right, we don't use that. And of course, I like to keep my screws. Put my screws to the side. These caps here, throw those away. All right. So you take those, throw those away. All right. We're never going to use it. All right, throw those away. Okay, cool. So now we should have this octopus-looking thing, all right, which is our flight control unit. And I'll go ahead and we'll start prepping that out right now as far as how to set it up to put it into this board.